Hi there. So big news coming down the pike. We've got a real world flight in the SF50 Vision Jet coming up in July. I've been working with the Flight Academy that operates out of Renton Airport and has a Boeing Field annex. At Boeing Field is where they keep the Vision Jet, and they operate their SR-20 and 22 fleet out of Renton. I've had a great initial flight in an SR-20, got to learn some of the Cirrus way of life with my instructor, and in July I'll be upgrading to fly the Vision Jet, and we have a route picked out. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to go from Boeing Field, where the Vision Jet is. We're going to cross east over the Cascades to Walla Walla in eastern Washington, pick up a little gift there, and then fly back to Boeing Field. Should be 4 hours, 5 hours total, and then maybe 2.5 of that on the Hobbs meter. But there's going to be ground and all that we got to do as well. So one of the things that I've wanted to do is work on a simulated version of that flight so I can get used to the controls, I can get used to the flows on the Cirrus Vision Jet, and I've made a few Cirrus Vision Jet flights before, but I really want to get used to this way of operating, specifically with the route that I want to take to Walla Walla. Let's go ahead and jump in. I want to show you a couple of things about what I'm planning, how I'm planning it, and what I'm doing, and then we'll just get right into the flights. So if we were to do a straight line KBFI to KALW, that's going to be 186.7 miles, vaguely southeast, heading 101, and 1 hour 33 ETA at a speed of 110. We're going to be going something closer to 300, so that'll be about 38 minutes, and that sounds about right. Altitude would be probably closer to 230. And why do we want to fly that high? The reason is if we change to the World VFR map, you can see it pretty quickly here. We've got a mountain range to cross. This is the Cascade Mountains. The higher peaks, Mount Rainier, 14,410 feet, very high. So we need to either pick a path that's lower altitude, which you can do. Stampede Pass is a fairly good way to go, and it has several airports along the way. You can also step around the mountains and take the Columbia River. So you'd fly south to Portland, turn eastbound, fly up the Columbia River and bypass. You cut right through the mountains and then be into eastern Washington, but it does take a little bit longer. One of the great things about having a jet is that you can just point and go, and that's exactly what we intend to do. So if I jump over to the IFR chart, typically what will happen is you'll be expected to join the Victor 2 298 airway either at Bander or at Vamps, and then Victor 2 airway, and Victor 2 airway terminates at Ellensburg, and then from there we pick up the Victor 187 to Pasco, and then finish up with the Victor 520 to the Walla Walla VOR, and then direct Walla Walla Airport, which is, of course, right where the Walla Walla VOR is. Okay, now that is going to be 192.8 miles as the crow flies, and if we can make a ground speed of 300, then we're going to get there in less than an hour, about 40 minutes. That looks about right to me. I have FlightFX up. You can see I've put the same thing in. I have pre-selected the Nirvana 1 departure from KBFI. I expect that's what I'm going to be given by Pilotedge. Vamps to the V2, to Ellensburg, to Victor 187, which terminates at Pasco, then pick up the V520 to ALW, which is the Walla Walla VOR, and then direct at KALW. We're using live weather today, so taking a look at weather on the ground at KALW, we see 220.05 gusting 14, so it's actually a little bit gusty out there, and 220, which indicates runway 20 would be preferred. So a runway 20, if I annotate this, would be coming in this way. We either have to decide to circle or we pick up a 20 approach. So let's take a look at what's available for us on the 20 approaches. We have an ILS 20. It starts at Butoc. We could do that. RNAV could start at Bacon. That looks okay. Maybe we can tell them we want to start the RNAV 20 at Bacon, and that's going to be a hold and move, a procedure turn. We'll swing back in. We could ask for vectors in the ILS runway 20. We could do that. Or we could just choose the visual. If we do the visual, runway 20, we would, let's see, cross midfield, teardrop. If we go to the VFR sectional and choose KALW, it does not say right pattern, so we would assume it'd be left pattern. Let's see. Cross swing back, enter the 45, and then left for the downwind. I've got my Honeycomb Bravo right here with the custom Cirrus power lever, which I got off Etsy. There's a mixture lever, but we do not use it in the Vision Jet. On top of that is my Octavia IFR1, which I'll be using to shortcut some of the comms and PFD inputs. I have my Honeycomb Alpha, but I won't be using the yoke today. Not at all. I'll be using the engine switches and the light switches that you can't see in behind there, but we won't be flying with this. We're flying with this. This is the Thrustmaster Airbus A320 stick, which looks a little bit similar to the Vision Jet side stick. I have it canted slightly forward on a big ram mount so that it's nice and ergonomic. I've got it so you can't quite see it, but I've got a little wrist rest that I cut out from a mouse wrist rest and put it right here, and it feels pretty good. Rudders are the TPRs, and that's about it. I'm not using any of my special military gear here today. Alright, let's review our weight and balance real quick here. I'll go ahead and turn my tablet off. So I've set the fuel to 75. That's going to be about 220 gallons, and we're going to be burning 68.4 gallons of that, which is going to leave us 220 minus 70 is 150. 150 at a burn rate of about 80 gallons an hour is going to give us a little under 2 hours reserve burn, which is fine, perfectly legal, and gives me the good feels. Carrying 3 folks along today and 50 pounds of baggage. Our total max takeoff weight 5730 pounds versus a total of 6,000, so we're in spec, so I feel pretty good about that. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we have filed our flight plan. And the reason I'm not talking a whole heck of a lot about the weather right now is because it's absolutely beautiful out and it's clear in a million, and we can do a bad weather flight some other day. I use my call sign 926 Tango Charlie. The SF50 is slant Lima, so I can get up to the higher altitudes. Really quickly, I'll just fire up my nav log and send to flights. I'll show you what I'm doing real quick here. No, I'm not gonna. Show you what I'm doing here. I'm getting the TAS off of the nav log, about 298, so it's safe for me to put in 300 for the TAS. Let's put in 298 and be pedantic. KBFI to KALW, cruising altitude 23,000 feet, no need for an alternate. And if you recall, our route is VAMPS V2 ELN V187 Pasco VOR Victor 520 ALW, that's Walla Walla VOR IFR 926 Tango Charlie SF50 Slant Lima 298 knots KBFI to KALW 23,000 feet VAMPS V2 Ellensburg VOR Victor 187 Airway Pasco VOR Victor 520 Airway the Walla Walla VOR. File. Cool, we're filed. I'll go ahead and connect and call sign over 926 TC SF50.
Pilotedge connected.
Okay, we're on. So I am flying Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It may be a bit of a controversial opinion, but I actually prefer the Vision Jet in the 2020 version of Flight Simulator. I like that it has noise-canceling headphones. I think it's got better options in its little mini tablet that I'll pull up for you here so I can show you what I'm talking about. The VAMS system. Yes, the VAMS. There it is. So statics, we'll take the chocks off, we'll take the covers and protectors off. Luggage, we do have a little bit of luggage. And we keep status as good. We'll put our headphones on and I'll fire up the noise cancellation later. Let's take a look, make sure everything is closed here. Door is closed, all good. Look for any caps, pins, nothing's hanging out, nothing's hanging off. Everything's good. Let's go ahead and turn the master switch on. And I'm just going to cycle my controls back and forth. Left, right, back, forward. Check our rudder pedals. Good, there's just a little bit of... Yeah, my rudders just need a little bit of fixing. There we go. That's just a personal hardware thing. Alright, and as things get underway, let's see, we'll go ahead and fire up the back camera for you can see what I'm doing here, just moving the stick around. Let's go ahead and check that the stick is good. Right, left, forward, back, left, right. Yep, good. And we'll just check our pedals. Forward, forward. Good. And we're going to check our power lever. Good. No problem there. All right. All right, next thing we're going to do, move to the MFD utilities initialization, do our system tests.
Higher, 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 higher. Stall, stall, stall.
System tests are good. Initial fuel, we'll hit fob sync. 224 gallons, looks good. Weight and balance, operating weight, crew and stores 400. Yep, payload 1 passenger 230 and cargo 50. Fuel and forward 5730. That looks correct. And the flight plan. So we'll make this really quick. KBFI. Enter. And the destination KALW. And enter. And I'll go ahead and file in the rest of the route when I get the clearance, because they may give me something different than what I expect. So that's very important. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click the top outer knob of this, and we're going to set this right-hand screen to our checklists. So before engine start, and our checklist is right there. I'm just going to pop over here and show you that. Pre-flight inspection complete. And we use this little knob here. It's a checklist. Door latched. It is. Parking brake is required. It's pulled. Battery 1 and 2 switches on. Gen 1 and Gen 2 switches are on. External GPU is needed. Not using that. Engine start. Strobe lights on. So I'll fire that on. That's one of my alphas. CAS messages check. Only the parking brake. We're good. Thrust lever to idle. Okay. Yep, thrust lever to idle. Hold brakes, so we're going to go ahead and push those brakes in. Engine knob to run. Run on the engine knob. The engine knob is going to be over here on the left. Okay, and we want to verify that we can hear the fuel pump as well as the advisory CAS being displayed. It is. Verify engine start bat temp or engine start volts CAS message is not displayed. It is not. We will now press the engine start button, my favorite button. And as everything comes on, we're going to water the engine instruments. We need to make sure at 25% N2, which is just now. Do we have positive N1 indication? We do. It's rising. If ITT exceeds limits, we stop. If no N1 indication by 25, we stop. If no evidence of light off in 8 seconds, we stop. If there's low oil pressure, we stop. But none of that is happening. We're gorgeous. I just see positive battery charging. That's good. Everything is stabilized. We have light off. Burning 10 gallons an hour. Very cool. EIS check all normal. Yep, all engine instruments look good. Engine IPS is required. We do not need ice protection system this time. ECS control panel sets are environmental controls. It's currently disabled. I'm going to go ahead and tune this to audio, set the temperature to nice and pleasant. Turn the ECS disable off, get a little bit of air flowing in here. External GPU disconnect, not an issue. Oxygen master switch, verify on. Press that. Oxygen system is operating. Avionics initialization, all units complete. They are. Caps pin, remove and stow. We don't have that simulated. Passengers brief, seatbelt secure. Bleed switch set to fresh air on. Perfect. All right, we're done with the engine start checklist. We're ready to move down to 4 taxi checks. Common nav GPS set. Okay. Well, let's get our frequencies. I'm going to go ahead and pop down here to the bottom, and I'm going to change my left to Navcom. We'll start by monitoring, and we're going to grab the weather here at KBFI. So I'm going to use my Octavi. Let's see, I'll show you. Let's see, got my tablet up, so we're taking a look at the weather. Or excuse me, info ATIS 12775, 12775, and we'll press
Field in Seattle International.
There we go.
Expect aircraft above you on final.
Let's write this down.
Read backhaul runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Delta.
Delta.
Boeing King County Airport. ATIS information Delta. 2153 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. 4000 scattered. Temperature 23. Dew point 11. Altimeter 3021.
Nice
Arriving
day.
and departing runways 14 left, 14 right. Visual approaches in use. Simultaneous approaches between Boeing Field and Seattle International. Expect aircraft
And I'm going to go
above
ahead
you
and
on
set
final.
1, 2,
Read
3,
backhaul
4,
runway
5
assignment.
on COM 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on COM 1 because we're going to do a COM transmission check. November 926 Tango Charlie. Radio check. Cool. All right. And so let's set COM 2 now to
Scattered.
1215.
Temperature 23.
That's guard frequency. Very important that we have that. And let's see. BFI's clearance delivery 132.4. And the next one's going to be Boeing ground 121.9. Perfect. Let's get ready to copy our clearance. This is going to be the flight plan that we filed KBFI to KALW. Boeing clearance, good day. Vision Jet, November 926 Tango Charlie on the ground. Boeing Field, like to pick up our IFR to Walla Walla.
We're 926 Tango Charlie, Boeing clearance, go to the Walla Walla Airport via the Nirvana 1 departure. Radar vectors VAMPs, and then it's filed. Maintain 2,100. Departure frequency 120.4, squawk 6633.
Cleared to the Walla Walla Airport. Nirvana 1 departure. Radar vectors VAMPs, then as filed. Climb maintained 2,100 feet. Departure frequency 120.4, squawk 6633. Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie.
6 Tango Charlie, read back correct.
Sweet. All right, so we're going to go in reverse order. I'm going to go ahead and flip my transponder to 6633. Okay, there we go, and we're on auto squawk, so we're good there. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to pop up to the top here on our PFD, and I'm going to set my altitude bug to 2100. We're good there. We haven't set our baro. We know we got to fix that, so we're going to go back to our scratch pad and 3021. And Boeing Field is elevation 22, so we should see 20 on the elevation tape or altitude tape. That looks correct. Good. Next thing we want to do, let's set our heading. On our heading bug, should be heading 140, departure. Heading 135 is going to be the Nirvana 1 departure instructions. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set our flight plan and our MFD. Remember I said we're going to do that after we got our clearance, which we just did. So we'll go ahead and pop back to our clearance instructions. And we'll hit back, flight plan. All right. So the first thing we know is it's going to be VAMPs. And then I'll click that and I'll do load airway, and that's the Victor 2. We'll go to our map here. It has our routing, and it's loading the sequence. We're going to go until Ellensburg. There's Ellensburg right there. Load that airway, scroll down to Ellensburg, click load airway. We're going to load the Victor 187 airway, which terminates at Pasco. Okay, we're loaded. And at Pasco, we're going to load the Airway Victor 520, and that terminates at Walla Walla. And load that. And we're good. Now the last thing we want to do is under PROC, we want to select our departure. And the departure is going to be the Nirvana 1, runway 14 right. Load, and we're loaded. And now we're going to pop up to the map here and verify that we see what we expect to see for the Nirvana 1 departure, runway 14 right to 700 feet, then direct Nirvana, then sequencing. And if I range out the map, and that's going to be this guy here. Oops. Switch over. And Vamps is right there, so that's the rest of the route. Okay, good. That looks really good. All right. Let's get back to our checklist and be sure we're doing things right there. So we're going to go switch over. What else do we need to do with our frequencies? Well, we need to tune ground. And so let's tune 1219er. Oops, that wasn't good. Okay, and tower is going to be 118.3. And for standby, we can set 120.4. And just use COM2 as a scratch pad. And then we'll put that in as we switch over to tower. Alright, let's walk it. We got the flight plan. Source, route, destination. We have our departure procedure set. We have our flight plan. That includes VAMPs and then as filed. We have our altitude set, 2100. We have departure frequency in our scratch pad. We're squawking 6633. We're all good there. So going through our checklist real quick. Let me turn the tablet off. Common Nav GPS set. Magenta needles. ATIS clearance obtained. We did. Altimeter set check. Transponder set. Heading initial set. Flight controls free and correct. We already did that. Trim 6 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and hold my trim button. 1, 2. You can see pitch trim right there. 4, 5, 6. We are set. Flaps 50%. All right. Go ahead and hit my flap controls. And check the flap indicators in motion and registers 50%. Electric roll trim set. Toga button press. That's on my I don't know why it's not responding in the game, but it's not, so I'll press it right here. Boop. Toga is on. You can see takeoff is there. And cast messages check. Parking brake release and brakes check. Procedure complete. Okay, we're pulled the parking brake. Got weight on my brakes now. I see a V-speeds warning. Go to the PFD. Speed bugs. All on for takeoff. There we go. Bugs have been set. I see probe heat is off. We're going to go ahead and turn our pitot heat on. Nope, that's anti-ice. There we go. That's more like it. Alright, let's go ahead and call ground. And it's 2301 Zulu. I have a feeling that they just gave a new ATIS. Let's see if that's true.
Contact, you have information echo.
Yep, they sure did.
Boeing King County Airport, ATIS information echo. 2253 Zulu. Wind variable at 5. Visibility 10. 4,500 scattered. Temperature 24. Dew point 12. Altimeter 3021. Arriving and departing runways 14 left, 14 right. Visual approaches in use. Simultaneous approaches between Boeing.
Alright. Good thing we checked. We have information echo. And we're ready to talk to ground. And we're going to show them where we are in the airport. We're Boeing ground, good day, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie with Echo. East parking near 14 left. Ready to taxi IFR.
We're 926 Tango Charlie, Boeing ground, runway 14 right, taxi via Alpha.
14 right, taxi via Alpha, 926 Tango Charlie. 14 right, taxi via Alpha. Alright, so we're going to just draw that really quick on our plates here. We are here. So we're going to go up to Alpha 1 and 14 right. Alright, and let's see. Feeling pretty good.
Number 18567, contact Amarillo Tower.
Amarillo Tower 567.
Alright, before takeoff, departure briefing complete. This is where we
Amarillo
do our
Tower,
CAPS
1 and
discussion.
567 on our
From
nav,
my
Yankee
understanding
22.
is if we have an engine failure
567, Amarillo Tower, runway
below
22,
600
clear to
feet, we're going to go ahead straight ahead. There's railroad tracks
Clear
on
to
14 right. We'll just
2218527.
land in flat ground. If we're between 600 and 2,000 feet, we'll pull the CAPS system. If we're above 2,000 feet, we'll try to diagnose the problem. If we can't diagnose the problem before we sink below 2,000 feet again, we'll go ahead and pull CAPS. That's how it works. Landing lights as required. Go ahead, turn all those lights on. Probe heat switch on. Engine IPS switch is required. We don't need IPS. Wing stab IPS, don't need it. Cast messages check. Trim 6, flaps 50. Yep, good, good, good. No takeoff emergency bat casts. Before takeoff, checks complete. Alright, good. And before we call, let's just go over normal takeoff checklist here. We're going to hold the brakes, thrust lever to take off power, engine instruments check normal, release the brakes,
331,
rotate
contact
between 80 and
Delta
90 knots, pitch
133.2.
attitude for 5 degrees, landing gear up once we have positive rate, and flaps up at 115, airspeed per climb tables. So we'll keep that up, and we'll get rolling here as soon as we get clearance from tower. And remember what I said I was going to do. I'm going to switch to tower is going to be 120.6, and then 120.4 is going to be departure. Boeing Tower, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie, holding short 14 right, ready to go IFR.
Number 926 Tango Charlie, Boeing Tower, runway 14 right, cleared for takeoff.
14 right, cleared for takeoff, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie. Alright, we're clear for takeoff, let's go. And I'll go ahead and I'll show the back cam here.
Approaching runway 14 right. Entered runway 14 right. 9,900 feet.
Okay, 9,900 feet of takeoff distance, pretty good. If you want to see how much we need, we can just go to aircraft systems, status and info. Takeoff distance ground, 50 feet obstacle is 3,000 feet, so we got no problem here. Alright. Back, utilities, checklist, normal takeoff. Alright, hold the brakes, thrust lever to takeoff. All engine instruments are normal, brakes release. Rotate between 80 and 90 knots. Okay, airspeed is alive. Engine instruments still look good. Stand on that center line. 60. Rotate. And pitch for 5 degrees. And positive rate. Flaps up. Gear up. Flaps up at 115. I'll go ahead and bring my thrust down now. And we fly 135. Oh, why my heading bug is wrong, I don't know. 135 until 700. And then direct Nirvana. Maintain 2,000 are assigned by ATC. They gave me a top altitude of 2,100. That's what we're going to fly to. Okay, we're going to even it out at 2,100. Okay, I'm going to hit AP, nav mode, altitude hold, AP master.
For 6 Tango Charlie, contact departure.
Over to departure, 6 Tango Charlie. Seattle departure, good day, Jet 926 Tango Charlie, 2,100 feet.
We're 926 Tango Charlie, Seattle departure, radar contact. Climb and maintain 15,000.
Roger, radar contact. Climb, maintain 15,000. 6 Tango Charlie. Alright, there we go. So we're going to take it off autopilot for a second. I'm going to go ahead and point it up. Give it max continuous power. Keep it in the green arc there. And rotate that knob for 15,000. And we're on 15,000. We're still headed Nirvana. A slight right turn here. And we're going to go ahead and set AP to FLC mode. And it says climb for 165 knots. That sounds pretty good to me. We'll just keep the throttle where it is and we'll just pitch for 165. Follow the mustache.
For 6 Tango Charlie, clear direct vamps.
Clear direct vamps, 6 Tango Charlie. Cool. So we'll go back to MFD, back, switch over here. Flight plan, vamps, direct, activate. Boom. Left turn. And we'll continue that climb for
Martello Tower,
5,000.
1527, clear of runway at Papa 4.
And while we're doing that, let's make sure that
For 567, taxi to parking via Papa this frequency.
we do
That
our
should be a Papa this frequency. of
climb
527.
checks. I'll go ahead and turn my back camera off now. There we go. That's vamps, and we're climbing for 165. I'll level her out here and go ahead and AP mode active. And it's responding to the FMS and FLC for 165. Throttle is already set. We'll go ahead and do our climb checks. Thrust lever to MCT, good. Engine parameters monitor, good. Cabin pressure monitor. We are seeing altitude feet go up. Difference PSI 1.9, so we're good. Ice protection is not required, and altimeter transition altitude we'll deal with once we cross 18,000 feet. We're currently cleared to 15,000 feet. We'll expect that in a little while we'll get the call to switch over to Seattle Center, and they'll clear us higher. Great! Well, that's a good opportunity for me to put on the noise-canceling headphones. There we go. That's lovely. All right. Well, what else do we want to know? Let's kind of look ahead a little bit and do some thinking ahead of the aircraft. How about that? So we're headed Vamps. Once we're at Vamps, we're going to pick up the Victor 2 airway. We're going to check that we see that our MFD lines up with what we see in ForeFlight. So Vamps to Bander to Beezer, and I see Vamps to Bander to Beezer on the ForeFlight. That looks good. So we're expecting a right turn then to heading 088. That'll be the expected turn. And taking a look at our engine stats right now, actually it looks pretty good. We've got 73 right at the top of the green arc here, and went into ITT oil. Temperatures and pressures are good. Gallons per hour, burning 103 gallons per hour on the climb. That's expected. Not seeing any drain here. 28.7 volts, really good. Gear is up, flaps are up. Looking good. Here comes that right turn to 88. Currently climbing now just through 8,700, about 9,000, climbing 165 knots, doing that FLC mode. Everything's looking really good. And we're established on the Victor 2 airway and climbing away. So that's great. We filed for flight level 230, so we're expected to climb to flight level 230 before we come on down. It's not the world's longest flight, so we're probably going to barely just scratch 23,000 before we are expected to descend again, but it's completely fine. It's good practice, and it's what we want to be doing today. So probably somewhere around Bander we'll be expected to call Seattle Center. That's probably 126.6. I'm just going to go ahead and bug that now. I expect that's what I'm going to get. So there's 126.6 pre-bugged and ready to go. And we're going to want to tune in on ALW weather as soon as we can get it. Why don't we tune in along the way? So we'll start with 118.375. That'll be Ellensburg weather. We'll pick that up to see how things are trending, and if everything looks green, we might ask for the visual to come in. Or if things are clouding up, we'll select an approach that makes sense. Last I heard, it was 2205 gusting 15 at Walla Walla, so runway 20 is definitely the one to go. Continue and climb through 10.6 for 15,000. Now we should see Mount Rainier off to our right, so let's take a look over there. Absolutely we do. That's a 14,500 foot peak there. So you got to pick your route, and you can imagine this is all socked in with clouds, can't see anything that's going on. You need your IFR on that day for sure. It's entirely possible to fly Cascade's VFR. There's nothing saying you can't do that, because you can get there under 18,000. And it's something that I might do at some point. In my world, flying the Cessna 182, mostly VFR, and trying to stay under altitudes where I'll need supplemental oxygen, I think I'm going to prefer going down south to the Dalles and then working my way up the Columbia River, because you can do that at a nice easy elevation. But there's certainly ways to get through. This is sort of the Stampede Pass route. Bander and Beezer are close to Stampede Pass. So, as a matter of fact, if you take a look at the routes here, turn the tablet back on for you, you can see for the Victor 2 air array, the minimum en route altitude is 8,400.
For 6 Tango Charlie, contact Seattle Center 126.6.
Over to Seattle Center 126.6, now 26 Tango Charlie. Hey, what did I tell you? Seattle Center, good day. Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie is 13,000, climbing 15,000 feet.
November 926 Tango Charlie, Seattle Center, climb maintain flight level 230.
Climb maintain flight level 230, 6 Tango Charlie. Sweet. Okay, so we'll just leave it on FLC mode and just dial it for 230. We're done. Let's check the cabin pressure differentials, make sure everything's there. You can see difference PSI is now up to 3.6, and so as we're going up fast, that differential is increasing. The cabin altitude is up to 4,300. The rate is still 500. Destination elevation, might as well double check that, make sure that lines up. Elevation at Walla Walla 1,194, so that's off by 44 feet. I don't know why, but I'll call that okay. And as we transition through 18,000 feet, 18,000 or flight level 180, we're going to switch to standard altimeter 29902. There's actually a little push button called push standard, and it'll allow us to do that. If you push the barrow button right here instead of turning it, it'll set it to standard, and then it'll store your current altimeter. You can always recall it. So. Anyway, let's see what's new. Okay, KALW. Now we have a pretty different wind forecast at KALW now, showing variable at 3 knots. Variable at 3. Now maybe the sky's the limit. We can land runway 02 if we want to. Either one is fine. And I'll also show you there is a NOTAM here for KALW that the airport control tower is closed. Now, Walla Walla is not one of the towers that's served by ForeFlight. It's an untowered airport according to ForeFlight, so we wouldn't have gotten their services anyway. But if we wanted to kind of run it like we would in real life, and we didn't have a control tower, then we have to consider it as an untowered airport. We'd have to look at what the rest of the traffic is doing. We'd have to consider prevailing conditions. We'd have to pick and announce and let people know what we're doing. So why don't we play around with a couple of scenarios and see what makes sense real quick. So I'll go ahead and clear and clear and clear. Oops, I did it again. Zoop. Try that again. I'm trying to clear my annotations. It says clear annotations when you press the button, which is really what I should be looking at. Okay, so procedure. Let's try approach into KALW visual runway 2. Straight in. That would look like we would sort of divert to the right for a straight in. 45. We would kind of go off to the left and pull back in. I guess we could do that. Those are really our only options, is we divert to the right and do a straight in, or we bow out to the left and enter the 45. Maybe that's a better choice, is entering the 45 from the north slightly. I don't mind doing that. And we'd be at probably about 3,200 feet, because that's the MEA from Lyles to ALW, so we couldn't get down to our TPA for KALW. Turbine would be 2694, so it's about 500 feet below the minimum en route altitude. So once we were cleared for the visual, we'd only have to descend about 500 feet. That'd take about 1 minute. In that time, we'd probably be going, because we'd be down to our approach speed, we'd go about 2 miles, so we probably want to... This all seems reasonable. We don't have to do anything crazy to get in. So for now, let's assume that we'll be asking for the visual 02, and we'll expect a procedure where we just set up for the 45. Okay, we are about to cross our transition altitude of 18,000 feet. And you can see that the thrust has gone down now to 57%. It's still in the green arc, but we have thinner and thinner air up here. So the FADEC is taking care of all the power settings for us. All right, 18,000, so now I'm going to push standard barometric pressure. Click, and now it goes to standard baro, and preset to 3021, and we can turn this dial, and we can mess with whatever the preset is. So as we hear from other stations, we can kind of keep it aligned with what we're expecting. Good time to sync the heading bug. Click. Now we're synced to 0905. You can see we're getting a 30-knot tailwind, which is pretty great. A little 8 knots little 8-knot crosswind right to left, but most of the component is tailwind, so that's giving us, for an IAS of 165, a ground speed of 251 knots. Pretty solid. Let's take a look from the outside. Groovy. Where do we think top of climb is going to be then? We're climbing at 1,000 feet a minute, and assuming that continues, we're going from 19,000 to 23,000. Flight level 190 to flight level 230, that's 4,000 feet. It's going to take us 4 minutes to get to top of climb. We're at Beezer 303 minutes from now, so right after Beezer, I suppose, we'll be at 23,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit at Ellensburg, flight level 230, and hit enter, and that gives us a VNAV. Cruise alt, active VNAV waypoint. Phase descent, phase climb, enter. There we go. It's saying bottom of climb in 2 minutes. I guess it's because we're already on our way. Well, That's a little silly. Remove that constraint. And we'll do phase climb. Enter there. There we go. Now it's 23. Top of climb right after Beezer, it shows. And that feels right. Yeah, there we go. Top of climb is going to be right after Beezer. So at that point, we'll be at our cruise altitude, and we'll start figuring our descent math. Like I said, we're not going to stay up very long. It's going to take us some time to get down. We can't bring the engine deck any lower than 5 degrees. That's our maximum pitch down. So our VNAV system has us, I think, set for...
Destination ASOS is 135.875.
Has us set for a descent schedule of 3 degree down angle holding 250 knots, or Mach 0.5. By the way, you'll see FLC now is set to Mach, so Mach 0.37. So once you've crossed a particular, I think it's 20,000 feet, I think it switches over. So we're only 2,000 feet away, so about 2 minutes until our top of climb. And then we'll start figuring it out. But this is a descent schedule, so we'll come down 3 degrees, and that's going to be, I think, 700 feet a minute or so. And we can use the 4-to-1 rule as a turbine-powered aircraft. So for every 1,000 feet we want to lose, it's going to be 4 miles forward. So if we're going to go down from 23,000, right, down to 3,000 essentially, which is what we're going to be on the final leg there at Pasco. We want to be around 3,000 feet, 3,200 feet. We need to lose 20,000, which means we're going to take 80 miles to do that. It's a long way. How much time do we? How much distance do we actually have left? Well, why don't we use our flight plan and take a look at that? So, as I hit down on this, it actually changes the flight plan in our map view, and if I hit full on the map, I actually get more details. You can see at Pasco, it's going to be a cumulative distance of 92 miles. That's probably right about... Yeah, see, when that hits 80 miles, we basically have to start our descent. So we can fly about 10 miles until we have to start coming down. All right, there's 230, and I want to make sure that we're set to MCT. There we go. You know, I was probably not climbing as fast as I could. I didn't quite have it set to MCT. I had it set to the top of the green arc. I needed to set it to the little blue spike. My bad. But now that we're cruising, we got it set to MCT, and we're just going to let that speed build up. Our cruise is 0.520, which is a little above 220 knots indicated airspeed. At this point, our ground speed is already 305 and increasing fast. So we're already speeding, and we're going to take a lot of that momentum as we descend. We're going to stay at that high speed as we come down. We'll have quite a few flight levels where we're getting a lot of value out of that ground speed even as we descend. We're going to get into thick air, and then obviously we can't do that as much. We're going to be burning a lot of fuel to keep the speed, but up in these flight levels, even as we're coming down, we can go pretty fast. 320 knots and increasing. Gallons per hour now 74, so it's a little bit below that 80 gallons per hour benchmark that I like to use. Let's see. Well, let's tune in Pasco weather since I actually overflew already. 132.6. And we're not going to hear it if it's not a supported. Nope, I'm not hearing it yet. Well, maybe. Alright, then I'll just dial 135.875. There we go. Let's use our VNav mode and figure out where we want to be. Let's set Pasco to 4,000. So let me show you what I'm saying. I'm going to go like this. Pasco, because if I look at my tablet, right? If I look at my tablet, Victor 520 from Pasco to the ALW is minimum en route altitude is 3,200. I expect they'll give me 4,000. Nice even number. They might even give me 5,000. But I'm going to set it to 5,000. That's probably what they're going to give me. 5,000. Enter. And that's phase descent type at 5,000. Okay, and VNav tells us top of descent is now 2 minutes and 45 seconds away. So there you go, you see. Oh, wow, look at that VS target. Here I am saying 700 feet per minute. That's ridiculous. That's so strange. All right, we're just about to hit our speed here. 220. Mach 520 is coming up. You can see Mach 513 and 520 is set. I'm going to go ahead and pop down here. I'm going to hit to the auto throttle, and it's referencing the FMS, so we're set there. Auto throttle is going to take us to the green arc as the max. And ground speed 357 knots. Fantastic. Looks like we should be landing at 2348, which is 15 minutes from now. Okay, there comes the power setting coming back down. Power setting is coming back down now, as the auto throttle is taking care of it and trying to match that Mach 520 FMS set target. Phoebus is the next point. It's saying top of descent should be just before Phoebus. I'll go ahead and let Seattle Center know I'd like to descend. Seattle Center Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie. If possible, we'd like to begin our descent.
6 Tango Charlie, contact Seattle Center 132.6. They'll have lower for you.
Over to Seattle Center 132.6, 6 Tango Charlie. Seattle Center, good day. Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie, flight level 230, and we're ready to start our descent.
November 926 Tango Charlie, Salt Lake Center, descend at pilot's discretion, maintain 1000, and the Tri-Cities altimeter 3006.
Descend pilot's discretion, maintain 1000, and thanks for 3006, 6 Tango Charlie. Okay, we'll set that in our pre-selector and quickly dial 1000. Alright, we've definitely missed our top of descent, but that's okay. It's saying VS target 1862, VS required 1993, so we'll go ahead and hit VS mode and we'll dial it down 2000 and see what we get there. There we go. We're coming down and we're holding that 5 degrees. Holding that 5 degrees pitch down, so we're making sure that we're not dumping the engine deck too low. And auto throttle is keeping us at that 0.500 Mach for the descent. Ground speed 346 knots, and we're just screaming along as we come down to 1,000 feet. Next thing we want to do is we want to get on and get that weather at Walla Walla as soon as it's available to us, so we can confirm what our approach plan is going to be. Okay, I'm picking it up. It's not coming in audibly, but I'm reading it. 245 at 3. Visibility 10. Sky's clear. 26 10C. Altimeter 3007. Okay. So we got a little bit of a headwind. 243. So we can take 20. So let's figure out what that would mean for us. So let me go ahead and switch COM2 back to guard. KALW. And there's no information because it's not a towered airport in this simulation. So let's go ahead and pop the tablet back up. And just keeping an eye on our stuff as we come down. Speeds are good. Altitude is good. Coming down. And standard barometer we're going to change to 3006 as we cross down below 180, but we have a second, so let me go ahead and just show you on the tablet here. So the procedure, what we'll do is, it's sky's clear, so we'll call for approach the visual runway 20, and we'll go ahead and cross midfield, and we'll cross direct. And MSL turbine 2694 and set TPA 2694. There we go. It looks a little funny because it's got that ALW Walla Walla VOR in it, but it's cross over the airfield 2694, left turn to enter left downwind for runway 20, and then descend. And we'll take it from there. And crossing 18,000 now. So let's go ahead and click this button and set to our pre-selector. And 3006, Barrow is set. We have the weather at Walla Walla and looking for the visual runway 20. Next thing we can do.
Number 6 Tango Charlie, contact Spokane approach 128.75.
Over to Spokane approach 128.75, 6 Tango Charlie. Spokane approach, good day. Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie's out of 17,000 for 1,000. We got the weather at Walla Walla and looking for the visual runway 20, full stop.
Roger 26 Tango Charlie, Spokane approach. Expect visual approach to Walla Walla. Descend and maintain 3,000.
Roger, expect the visual into Walla Walla. Descend and maintain 3,000. Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie. Cool, 3,000. Alright, so descent to 3,000. Why don't we do it this way now? I'll go ahead and turn the VNAV system off and let's see what it looks like for us. So I'm going to remove... Let's see, Pasco's 5,000. What if we did it this way? So I'm going to remove that constraint, and we're in VS mode, so it's not a problem. We want to be 3,000 feet at 3,000 feet by Walla Walla. Enter VNAV. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see our VS target is more like 1,700, so we can safely shallow out. We can shallow out our descent because you can see top of descent keeps moving further and further away. So I'm just going to click that down to 1,700. Shallow that descent out so we stay in high-speed territory just a little bit longer because we don't need to descend like a crash dive. Yeah, good.
6 Tango Charlie, clear direct to Walla Walla Airport.
Clear direct to Walla Walla Airport, 6 Tango Charlie. Cool. Well, that makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? I'm going to go proc, approach, visual 20, straight in, load, okay. And I'm going to get KALW like this, Direct activate. Okay, since we're in nav mode, it's going to left turn. And we'll hit direct on the tablet. Landing now 2356. $3,000. And we're just going for it. 52 miles to the airport, 10 minutes. Since this is our last on with approach, looks like tower is 118.5. Okay, we're all set there in COM 1, ready to go. Procedure, approach, visual 20, cross midfield, direct. There we go. Got that set up. And what's it look like in the old MFD? You can see us, they have us doing like a teardrop kind of thing, so maybe that's what we should be doing. Nah, that's essentially what we're doing. We're fine. Okay, well, let's see. We have some checklists that we have to run, obviously. That's some stuff that we didn't do. So let's go half, and then we're back to our checklists. I'm going to switch that over. Utilities, checklist, descent. All right. Thrust lever as required. It is. Landing field elevation, checked. We did that at the distance dest elevation. Ice protection, not required. Transition, we did that. Seatbelt secure. Descent complete. We're going to go ahead and tune the Barrow up 1 to 3007 because that's Walla Walla Barrow. Okay, approach briefing complete. What we talked about is we're going to overfly the field at 2,694 once we're cleared to visual. And then we're going to make left traffic, and airspeed is 140 knots, so we want to be at 140 knots. Let's go ahead and agree that we'll start our reduction in airspeed. Let's call it 10 miles from the airfield. We'll start our speed reduction 10 miles from the airfield. Lights is required. Flaps 50, airspeed 140. So we're going to put flaps out once we're on left downwind past the numbers, and that's also when I put our gear down. Well, that'll be a gear check actually. So it's going to be descend to 3,000. Get cleared the approach, descend to 2694, we'll call it 2700. 10 miles out, we're going to bring our throttles down. We're going to bring our throttles back. We're going to make sure that we're below 210 knots. That's our extension speed. Once we're at below 210, we put the gear down. That's going to allow us to drop our speed even further. We're going to get to 140 knots. And then we're going to go flaps 10 once we're abeam the numbers on the downwind. Okay, 35 miles to go. 5,000 feet, or 5,800, continuing down. $4,900, continuing to 3,000. No visual on the runway yet. They're going to ask us to visually verify it. We're 7 minutes out. $3,000 as low as they're going to give us. Okay, within 1,000 feet of our target altitude at 3,000 feet. Coming up on the Snake River here. Now you're going to watch the gallons per hour just jump up here as the throttle increases to get us 250 knots in this thicker air. There it goes, 90 gallons per hour, 92. It's not too bad though. Bombing along at 250 knots, man. I suspect we'll probably want to be slower than this once we're this low down, but it's kind of fun to go this fast. I'll check my FARs and make sure I know. I know it's supposed to be under 250 below 10,000 feet, but maybe below 3,000 feet it's supposed to be lower than that. Okay, 5 minutes.
Number 6 Tango Charlie, Walla Walla Airport, 12 o'clock, just over 20 miles. Advise when you get it.
Roger, we'll report the field in sight when we see it, 6 Tango Charlie. That's where I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, 19.5 miles, 4 minutes. Burning 91 gallons an hour, down to 168 left. Yep, I got it. You can see those crossing beams right there. Spokane approach, 9026 Tango Charlie has Walla Walla Field in sight.
We're 9026 Tango Charlie, cleared visual approach, Walla Walla Airport. Report your IFR cancellation or missed approach in the air this frequency or on the ground at 122.2. Change to advisory frequency approved.
Clear the visual into Walla Walla Airport. Roger, we can cancel IFR at this time, 6 Tango Charlie.
6 Tango Charlie, IFR cancellation received. Squawk VFR, frequency change approved. Have a good night.
Squawk and VFR, frequency change approved. Thanks for the help, 6 Tango Charlie. Boom, done, and 118.50. We got 14 miles. Remember, at 10 miles out, we're going to start our slowdown procedures, which includes going down to 210 knots, and blah 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 blah. Going to turn the auto throttle off. Maintain the speed myself. Let's just stay on the autopilot for now. We want to cross at 2700, remember that, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it out at 2700. Vertical speed mode, we'll drop at 600 feet per minute. Bring the thrust down to counteract that. And we're going to let everybody know we're about 10 miles to the west, setting up for left pattern 20. Walla Walla traffic, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie is 10 to the west. Going to overfly the field at 2700, set up for the left downwind, 20, full stop, Walla Walla. There's 2700 right there. Boom, didn't take long at all, did it? And there's 10 miles, so let's go ahead and bring that power lever back. Bring it back to about 25%. And we're looking for 210. Looking for 210 on the tape. .210, gear down. And we're going to go PFD, speed bugs, landing all on. Okay, speed's coming down. Aircraft system status and info real quick. Our VREF is 84 knots. You can see it right there. We'll go ahead and override, set 84, enter, back to Navcom, and back to utilities checklist. Okay, we're 165 knots, slowing down. Okay, approach briefing is complete. We've done that. It's going to be overfly the field, left pattern. We are at TPA already, 150 knots. Okay, we'll fly it at 150 knots. Then we're going to hit flaps 10 and then down to 140 knots as we go around the horn. For landing checks, landing gear down and locked. It is. Flaps as required. It is. Cabin pressure differential. We're still seeing a rate coming down, so that's unfortunate. Uh, 500 a minute. I need to get down 1,500 feet. It's going to take 3 minutes. Well, we'll fly out and do ourselves a pattern there. It's going to be 3 miles to it, 3 miles out, 3 miles in. That'll be 3 minutes. I'll keep it at 150. I'm going to go ahead and sync my heading bug. I'm going to switch AP into heading mode. Get ready to deactivate the autopilot, take it manual. Speed's nice, 150. Flaps are still up. We're going to go 50, 50%, and 190 knots is max speed for extending. Okay, looking down there, I got numbers. That's 20. That's what we expect to see. Walla Walla traffic Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie's overflying the field at 2700 and going to be entering left downwind runway 20 Walla Walla. Autopilot off. Left turn. And we'll bring it on down. Flaps 10. Oh, oop, forgot about that bubble. Okay, bug is set for 20. We want to fly at 140. Get that thrust down to 25%. Cabin altitude's 2,500 and continuing to come down. Okay, we're 300 below TPA. Okay, checking landing gear down and locked. Flaps is required. Cabin pressure differential is not where we want it to be yet, but we'll come around.
500.
There we go, I got the field in sight. Walla Walla traffic, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie's turn in left base, runway 20 full stop Walla Walla. And we'll go ahead and go flaps 100. Got a flaps ice warning. Don't think that's really relevant. $700 feet to go on the cabin pressurization. Hold an approach speed of 100. 5 mile final. One and a half mile final, excuse me. Walla Walla traffic, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie's 1 mile final, runway 20 full stop, Walla Walla. Okay. Yaw dampers coming off. Good approach speed. Bring the thrust lever back. Let that bleed off to reference speed. Just a little bit of a bubble there. Landed a bit long. Flaps up. Didn't run on my landing checks, but after landing, flaps up. Done. Wing stab IPS switch, we didn't use it. Engine IPS switch, didn't use it. Probe heat switch off. Check. External lights. Okay. Turn off that noise reduction. Walla Walla traffic, Vision Jet 926 Tango Charlie's clear, runway 20, taxi parking, Walla Walla. Alright. We'll just pull in here. I don't see anybody minding that. Outstanding. Turn off the ECS system there. Bleed switch, fresh air. Oxygen master switch to off. Lights off. Engine to off. Engine stop. Sweet. Walla Walla, baby.